I didn't want to make the first video too long, so I'm basically just gonna explain this one. But before I go into that, I just want to finish off this sector. So 142, like this. This is currently 142's route. If you want to extend it to Woodley Interchange, be it a loop service or a bidirectional service, in both cases you would need like the red and white plates, the destos, to distinguish between like where the bus is going because it calls the same stop at both directions. If you're gonna do it this way, then it's justifiable. But if you're gonna do it one big round, it is no longer justifiable because can you imagine the people who live along this sector of the route? They are gonna get compromised simply because of the expressway slip road jams. So this is why they even made like 148 in the first place. To put it simply, they just wanted to separate them because 148 has this sector that shouldn't be affected by anything that's around this area, the congestion. Now back to the explanation of 146 and 115. So the reason why a merger between, oh my god. Okay, let's try that again. It finally works now. You have to remember that 115's purpose is to touch Kovan MRT. Has to touch no matter what. And the unique thing about 115, it's not because of its unidirectional loop. I mean, it's kind of because of the nature of the unidirectional loop, which is what makes it unique. But the more accurate explanation would be everybody that's living along this area who has no access to like service 81 because 81 is like this. 81 used to be like 81 used to be like this, but then it got amended like this. So everyone that's living along this sector, they need access to this place. And this unidirectional loop was made solely for this like purpose. I mean, right now it runs like at around I think 15 to 20-minute frequencies if I remember correctly. There's like 2 to 3 buses. Or is it only 2? I don't remember, but basically 115 is meant to do this purpose. Because it is the only bus service that connects this area to this area. You don't necessarily have to take MRT. You can also connect to other buses as well. Like say, if you want to take 136 to go in this general direction, yeah, you can do that. And 115 helps you to connect to 136 in this fashion. Services like 136. You can even connect to like 81, 82 to reach next, stuff like that. Another way to explain this is that over here it's just all industrial estate. It used to be served by a feeder service called 323, which I think historically was 329. But yeah, but there are no buses in this area. So 115 is targeted at everybody living along this stretch. And only this stretch. This area is like kind of an old estate. A lot of like people above the age of 50, let's say 50, live along this area, and therefore they need this bus service for easy access to Kovan. To Kovan and back here. That's why the unidirectional loop, again, it's designed simply to cater towards this side. Because this side already has like other services like 62, 113, but this side specifically 115. Because can you imagine if, obviously I don't think 146 is like gonna terminate here. And like I said, it has to be on this side and not this side. So if you were to, let's say on paper, you merge them, it becomes like that. As in, like, if the loop becomes like that, you have a really big problem. You're breaking off the link from here to this side. So you're still able to go from here to here, but you're not able to go from here to here anymore. You would have to push everybody to this side of the road. It's not really a problem like around this area, but around here it starts to become a problem. Okay, to explain a bit more specifically, more specifically, you see this area is full of like landed housing, single houses. There are schools here. It is quite difficult to just cross over to this side. If you alight, like let's say along the bus, if you alight at the bus stops along this side, you would have to like, again, I'm not that familiar with like the wayfinding in this area, but you would have to like detour a bit. And that's the reason why you still need a bus service to cover this side. I mean, the flats over here. This is the reason why a merger of like 146 and 115 isn't really that practical. And I'm just illustrating it. But I can say that 146 merging with 119 has more potential. I'm just saying on paper it has more potential, especially if you think 119 is like kind of, how to say, limited use. It's not useless, but it probably has more potential if you merge it with 146. So yeah, because when I explain about amendments like this, I'm not really trying to say I'm in favor or I'm against the amendment like I think most other like bus YouTubers usually do. Usually they would give their input, but my purpose is not to give my input, but just to explain to you guys why certain like amendments are possible and why others aren't really possible, be it now or even in future. And I'm just explaining to people as it is, cause but I will say that like one amendment that I strongly opposed was this one. It should have been Tengah to Tampines North. That's the only one that I have like, truly opposed so far. The rest I'm just merely explaining why the amendments are like that and why 142 and 148 have to remain split because of the slip road congestion and stuff like that.